Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, President of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me, and Crissy, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Regina, for having me on today. This is so fun. And so what I do, I am a mindset coach. So some people wonder, like, what is that? Can also call me a life coach, a performance coach. But I have had my own coaching business, now almost for the last 12 years. So I feel like I started in the business when not many people really knew what a coach was. But my background was I was actually in nursing. I was an OR nurse for several years, got into medical device sales, pharmaceutical sales, and then actually spent the bulk of my career in pharmaceutical marketing, rising up the corporate ladder. And at the same time, getting married, having kids. And I basically got to a point in my career where everything was great on the outside, but certainly not on the inside.
Yeah.
It was, I have four kids and it was after my fourth and he was a baby. And I was like, what, I had this really big title, big paycheck, big responsibility. But I just sort of wasn't exactly sure how I got there and felt like I wasn't really fulfilling my passion in what I was doing. So at the time, I actually worked with an executive coach as part of my career path. And what I found was, really so many of the things that she was doing for me is really what my passion was in what I was doing for my team. Really helping them set their goals, helping them reach their goals, public speaking, speaking in front of an executive board, like all these things that I loved and what really drove me in my marketing career. And then there were the things that I didn't love, which was like so much of the politics. I certainly was one of the very few women in a man's world. Especially being a mom at the time, that was certainly difficult. There was no work from home then.
No.
Yeah, it was very, very different back then. So I basically, after some soul searching and decided that the best thing for me to do was to sort of just bite the bullet and leave my corporate career and start my own coaching business. So I did that. I became certified coach and I started my business about 12 years ago. And so, what I have been doing over the last 12 years has morphed a bit in my coaching business. When I first left corporate, a lot of my clients were executives, C-level executives. It was very much like leadership development, growth development, how to get to the next level in your career kind of coaching. And I feel like as my life has changed, my clientele has also changed. So my clients are now mostly women and they're mostly, moms and, women, I would say probably between the ages of 30 and 60 and trying to really figure out sort of like, what is my encore? Like, what's my next thing? Or, I'm a mom and I want to get back into work, or I have this great job, but I'm not happy. And so that's sort of how it's morphed into really more of like a mindset coach, is what I like to call it. And then the brand Suburban Warrior, which I have a podcast and apparel line. And it's basically Suburban Warrior morphed out of me just sort of meeting with all of my clients and having my own mom friends and being in this like larger community of women in and amongst like everyone that I talk to and realizing that we all have these amazing struggles. We all have traumas. We all have pain, but we also all have so many wonderful things that are happening in our lives with our kids, with all the joy. But we're living on such a fast world that we rarely are really getting to share it with each other. I feel like a lot, and this was prior to COVID, I felt like we were losing a lot of connection with each other because we just didn't take the time to really sit down with each other. Like we see each other in the grocery store or on sidelines and we're like, hey, how are you? And everybody's fine, right? That wonderful 4-letter F word, we're fine, but not, right? Not everyone's fine. And so Suburban Warrior, I created really to just, create some type of connection and inspiration within specifically the mom community, to help reinforce really my coaching too, that we all have the power within us to take control and do whatever we want in life. We just have to realize that we do.
I
And
love the name. It's like such a powerful, like, oh, get it out there. I love the name.
yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. I literally, just came up with, I was literally driving in my big truck one day, no kids in the back for once. And I think, we all get inspiration at different times. And it just came to me. And I thought to myself, like, it's really how I feel a lot of the times. Like sometimes, I do feel like I'm this suburban warrior. And then I hear so many other people's stories, really just from friends that confide in me or from clients, like all over the place. And it's amazing to hear what women go through, what moms go through, and what we are able to sort of just take on and get through, and no one knows.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's so much power in our stories. I think there's so much power in what we go through and how we go through it and how we're able to come out on the other side, just as better people.
Right.
It doesn't have to be this like amazing triumphant thing that we've come out of, or that we've been able to uncover, but it's really the learning in the process, that when we share that learning with each other, we can all learn from what we've gone through. So yeah, suburban, I love the name too. I think it is pretty
Awesome.
powerful.
Yeah.
And I also, being a mindset coach, I think that it's what we tell ourselves that matter. So if you're able to wake up in the morning, and if you're able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I am a freaking suburban warrior. I am going to kill it today. I'm going to go after it. I feel good. I am grateful. I am joyful. And whatever life throws me today, I got this. I think when we're able to kind of like look at ourselves in the mirror in the morning and say those things to each other, I mean, to ourselves and each other, of course, but it starts our whole day off on a different tone.
Oh,
So
absolutely. You take the control of the day as opposed to the day just running you.
you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's actually really amazing. It's just the connotation of it. I love it. And a lot of people don't realize, because I'm in the same boat as you, working with a family, it's like when we get to work, that's our second job.
Right.
I remember years ago, I had my 3 kids by then. I got into the office, and one of my other people in the office chastised me for getting a cup of tea and, perusing the Wall Street Journal, just a couple minutes. I was just kind of looking at the headlines. He's like, well, you should be doing that at home.
Oh
I was like, oh, well, I was feeding my children and getting them ready for the day. And this is the first morsel of food I've had to eat or drink today. So thank you. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah. Thank you for your opinion that no one asked for.
No one asked for that. No one asked for that. But then you also, I guess, grew up in an industry that was really tough. The pharma industry is, that's a tough industry.
It is, and it certainly was back. Basically, I was in it from the late '90s to 2010, and those early 2000s, as I'm sure were very different than in the world that we live in now.
Absolutely.
Especially as a woman.
Yeah.
And it's one thing when you're like, as a nurse, I was, it's predominantly women. So going into a career where it was predominantly men was really eye-opening for me. And the world has changed, and it's changing and evolving, which I'm so grateful for my 3 daughters. But it was challenging. And the story that you just described, I have so many of them where the things that were said to me were just so degrading and so condescending, just because I am a woman and a mom.
Yeah.
So, me being a mom in the workplace, in the corporate world, I had to work that much harder to show that I was worthy of being there than a lot of the other people, whether it was younger women who just weren't having kids yet, or, or the men.
Yeah.
And so, the world is evolving, which thank God.
Yes. Thank God for our daughters, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And then you escaped that environment. And I mean, like, wow, you just decided you know what, I am done with this. I'm going to do something that is going to be constructive, not only for me, but for other people. Like that I'm sure it was a hard decision, but a easy decision in some aspects, but a really difficult decision to make.
It was a really difficult decision because, you know, first of all, change is really difficult for all of us. But I think what happened, and it was a decision that I made over the course of probably 2 years.
Mhm.
So it did take a while. It wasn't like I woke up one day. I went through this process of self-discovery. And I think it's important to do that. But when I did it and I got to the point where I realized like I'm really unhappy. And because I'm unhappy, I'm not being the best wife I can be. I'm not being the best mom I can be. I'm not being the best friend, daughter, like you name it. I just wasn't being the best version of myself. And that doesn't mean that like I was looking to like, skip around and life was all rainbows and unicorns. I think that when you wake up in the morning and you're not truly feeling energized and feeling good about what it is you're doing that day, that is your energy is your signal. Your energy is there to tell you whether you're going in the right direction or not. And slowly but surely my energy was depleting over the course, especially of like the last year that I was there. So either you're going to make a change and you're going to take a risk to better your life, or you're going to stay on this horrible path and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. And so what I always do and have done really my whole life, I always say like, what's the worst that can happen, right? If the worst thing that can happen is if I left that career and decided that like I wanted to get back into back into the corporate world, I could have found another job, right? I mean, I rose through the ranks really quickly. I had a great career path. So like, and I was a performer. So I knew I could find another job. What I needed to do was believe in myself. I needed to get out of the rat race. I needed to believe in myself, follow my passion of wanting to be a coach and try that out. And then here I am 12 years later, and it was the best decision
Oh,
that
good for
I've
you.
made because it
Good.
really, truly is who I am. It's like what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
I always joke around like I was a cheerleader in high school. I've always been a cheerleader. Like I'm not only cheering myself on, but I'm really about cheering others on. And I really feel like I found my niche when it has come to moms and stuff, because I think that moms are really bad at cheering themselves on.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because you know what, we just go through it and we do it, and it's just expected of us. And that's why I love doing these videos and podcasts, because it's a way for us to talk about all the things that are hidden behind the curtain that nobody sees. That we look like, kind of like the duck analogy. We're gracefully floating on the lake, but underneath we're like, boo.
Yeah, crazy and going through insanity each and every day, and which we still are. Like I feel like I love how everyone, I know I used to even like, when I was in the corporate world, I was always like, I would talk to my coach and be like, I just don't have any balance in my life. And it's about balance. And then I just realized like balance is overrated. Like you're not really going to find balance. Your life is not meant to be balanced in the way that, there's imbalance all the time, but it's about being joyful in that imbalance. Right. It's about being happy. It's about finding comfort in that imbalance and knowing that like, today is going to be a rough day because not every day is easy, but you know what? I got this. I'm going to get through it. And tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you said you work with women mostly from 30 to 60. Are there certain industries or, niches that you go into?
I mean, no, not necessarily. I mean, I really do think that, and that's just like a general range. Of course, I have younger and older clients, but I feel like that age client I've attracted probably because, a lot of my business is based on referral. So when I am coaching other moms and by moms, like I don't mean just like, I'm not talking about stay-at-home moms. I mean like moms who have like these big careers, but they're trying to, balance, or maybe they're trying to get to the next level, or maybe they want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe they are stay-at-home moms and they're, so it's just that age range. And of course I have women that aren't moms, but I feel like that women in that age range, I feel like you start to kind of go through a little bit of a life change, and it's not midlife crisis or anything like that. I think it's more as we get out of our 20s, we get into a deeper understanding and a deeper relationship with ourselves. And as you start to go through that deeper relationship, you realize that maybe you want different things than what you have and you don't know how to get them, or you realize that you don't feel good about yourself or you don't feel good about where you are, and you need to develop strategies and habits to help yourself feel better. And obviously mental health is a huge topic these days, and unfortunately mental health conditions are on the rise. And so, but not everybody needs like a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist, because certainly there are medical conditions where people do need that. I'm talking about the mental health that sometimes you just need help harnessing your own thoughts. You need help with the negative self-talk. You need to develop strategies and coping mechanisms so that you wake up in the morning and you feel really great about your life and the direction it's going, and sort of that's where coaching comes in.
Yeah. Helping people get rid of their head trash, because we all have it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm always like, I'm working on my head trash all the time.
Yeah. And we all should be. I mean, because the head trash is there, right?
It's a real thing.
Over. Yeah, it's a thing, and it's our ego, and it comes in, and it's the head trash. And if we don't harness it and start getting rid of it, we'll never learn it, because it will always be there. The head trash is never going away.
Right.
So it's about learning to harness it, get rid of it, and clear more space for all the good stuff.
Yeah, true. Now, how do women find you? How do you, look for clients? How does that work for you?
Yeah. So, well, I have a website. My website is just CrissyPyfer.com, and it's Crissy with no H, P-Y-F-E-R.
Yeah, spell that out, because make sure people can find you. Spell that out for everybody.
Sure. It's CRISSYPYF as in Frank, ER. So that's my website, CrissyPyfer.com. But you can also find me as Suburban Warrior on Instagram. And I'm also on Facebook as Crissy Pyfer. So yeah, I mean, those are pretty much, I think, if you can't find my website, just check out Suburban Warrior on Instagram. It's probably the easiest place to find me, and you can contact me through Instagram. And then, of course, the podcast, which I think there's like 75 episodes of now. I have amazing women on. There's 75 amazing women that I've interviewed that are there to share their stories of whether it's, businesses that they built, traumas that they've been through, just stories that they have to share, but amazing stories of inspiration and connection that I would encourage everyone to listen to. There's things about health, wealth, wellness, like everything.
I have to tell everybody, please do yourself a favor and go listen to Crissy's podcast. They are excellent, and talk about all sorts of things. One of the most recent podcasts that I listened to was on menopause, which I loved. I mean, like, I'm probably going to listen to it again because it was that good. And what you and your speaker were talking about, like, it's a conversation that's not being had, and you can't find information about menopause that we really actively need, and perimenopausal. Like, the conversation is kind of like the hush hush. Oh, it doesn't happen. You're not supposed to talk about it type of thing.
Right.
Behind the scenes. So that was fabulous. And then a more recent one was like, and I may get the title wrong, but it was about teenage mental health, which especially after this pandemic with all the isolation, oh my gosh, such powerful. So please, everybody, go listen to Crissy's podcast, Suburban Warrior. Fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I do think that you can find, there's probably so many topics, but you can scroll through, because like you said, they are all different. And, like the menopause one that you were talking about, I think that I have a couple amazing speakers throughout the seasons on menopause. And I think it's so funny that we talk about pregnancy like it's nothing, right? We talk about having babies and
all day long
that we go through about pregnancy. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to the other stage of life, this, menopause, like, no one told me about it. And all of a sudden I started going through it, and I'm like, this is hell. This really stings. And I need to find out everything I can about it. And like, your OBGYN is not going to help you.
No, because
just saying, for anybody that actually is going through it and has any real issues, you're going to have to find
there's support. A void of information on that.
Oh yes. Absolutely. So anyway, so yeah, absolutely. So the podcast is there. So that's how people can find me.
That is great. That is great. And I will be going back and checking out some of the other titles too that I missed already. So good stuff.
No, it's great. You know what? And they're bite sized, like they're about 30 minutes long. And I feel like
Perfect.
it's great for when you're driving in the car. You're going for a walk. And again, it's like, you know, meditation is different for everybody. So sometimes my meditative state is literally just putting in my earbuds and going for a walk for 30 minutes and listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
You know, just to again get a little bit of tidbit of information and make my day a little bit better.
For
You know?
sure. For sure. Now you have such a bundle of energy. I can't even imagine you retiring, but let's pretend that you eventually do retire. What's your retirement vision?
Wow, you know, that's a great question. And, you know, as a coach, like I am someone who has like short-term and long-term goals. But like for my retirement vision, I feel like my biggest goal within retirement is to spend time with my kids and grandkids that I, you know, obviously I don't have grandkids right now, but like, you know, one of my life traumas is that I lost my mom young. And so she never got a chance to meet my kids and, you know, being her grandkids. And so, yeah, one of my life's biggest goals is to spend time with grandkids because like I said, we didn't have that.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Women and Wealth. Again, my name is Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. My website is forgewealth.com. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and on LinkedIn, Regina McCann-Hess. So make it a great day.